Oh, my neighbors hate me. Alright, so what do we think? Take this thing down a little bit so we can talk. 2017, I think this one is. 2017 Mustang Gt350. Had it now just for a bit. Kind of the same deal as the Porsche video, really. Took some pictures. Came down at the lake. Had some last night as the sun went down. Different lights. And just been getting used to driving it. I haven't driven a manual gearbox for a while, and just getting used to that. Something completely different, you know. Getting used to seat setup and just everything that I'm just not used to. So very addicting. But this for me, as I mentioned earlier, is kind of like a halo car at the moment. Right? Like it's one that I've been wanting to drive for a really long time. I've seen every single video there is on YouTube, people revving them and driving them well and all the rest of it. Like, you know, Adam LZ's got some great videos of his, and he tried to sell it. Turned around on the way to CarMax because he just couldn't get rid of it. Well, I understand why now, because it's addicting. It's at, for the money, like 46,000 I think I checked last night. This one's up for. I mean, find me a better deal for 46 grand with 4,500 miles on it. I mean, honestly. It's just ridiculous, let's be honest. Yeah, so, but in Bumblebee spec, which it is, the stripes are actually growing on me. I didn't think they would, but they are. I'd love to see it without stripes, just to kind of see what it looks like. You know, it's got great body lines. My favorite line of this thing is kind of just down the side, down the kind of like front quarter panel is just magical, with that little louver in the front and wider arches, and it's just, I don't know, there's something about Mustangs for me that I think it's being from the UK and not having, you know, the whole muscle car culture. It's extremely appealing to me, especially when I see one. And driving this thing around, I mean, no one cares that you're in a Gt350 unless they know what it is, right? Like a couple of times I've been driving this thing and, oh, it's another loud Mustang, no one really bats an eyelid. Well, I passed a couple of people in Mustang GTs and just normal Mustangs, and it's so funny to see that, you know, they're turning their heads and they just, you know, they're like, oh, I recognize that, I recognize the sound, I know what that is, and you just get that nod, that kind of appreciation, which is really funny to me. Kind of like the Raptor wave or the Jeep wave, right? There's like a Mustang kind of nod. Mostly old men who are driving their Mustangs, or, you know, the typical daddy's girl, 16-year-old who's just been given a, you know, Miami blue Mustang for his 16th birthday. But yeah, I don't want to give it back. I just, like, I understand now why everyone raves so much about this car, and, you know, they say don't meet your heroes and all the rest of it, and, you know, I have goals just like anyone else. Like, one of these, I'd love to have one, and look down the road, you know, you increase your goals and you upgrade or what the rest of it. But right now, this is on my bucket list. staying on. It's not coming off anytime soon. Like, this is... I'm glad I got to drive this now, because I now understand what it's like to drive, how it takes certain things, like how you've got to drive it, the way you've got to shift, the way you've got to blip on the downshift, you know, just to manage the engine. And I'm not used to, like, I'm not a great driver. Like, this is all new to me. I mean, yeah, I grew up driving manual cars, but I mean, that's a Ford Fiesta, right? That's not a 520 horsepower naturally aspirated monster like this thing that revs to 8 something. You know, one of the things I noticed last night was the clutch travel for me is quite far, and I'm not used to it being quite far, so I've really got to set up my driving position to make sure that it's not uncomfortable and I'm not like raising my leg or slipping or whatever. So that was one thing for me that I had to figure out. And I think over time, if I had this car, you know, if it was mine, I would finally get it down. I mean, I'm not, after having it for 24 hours, I don't have it down yet. I think it's something that with any car, you just kind of, you get used to and you mold it to you, right? You just get used to driving it, and, you know, there's little quirks and stuff like that, but they become normal to you. Whereas right now, I'm like, okay, you know, make sure that I'm not lifting off the clutch too early, and, you know, just little things like that that make driving this thing smooth. I went to driving through my neighborhood last couple of days, and, you know, last night I come back from taking photos of this thing, and I'm trying not to be too loud, trying not to wake everybody up, but at the same time, you can't drive this thing between 1,000 and 2,000 RPM. Like, you just can't. It's a disservice to the car. It's a disservice to you. It's miserable to drive. You've got to get up it for it to, you know, perform. And that's like 3 and 4 RPM, 3,000, 4,000. That's nowhere near where it needs to be. But within 2 flexes of my big toe, I'm over the speed limit and I'm in jail. So again, I don't want to give it back at all. It's one of the most fun cars I think I've ever driven, and now I understand going forward why everybody raves about this car, why everyone says it's amazing value for the money. Because where else are you going to find 520 something naturally aspirated horsepower with a manual gearbox for 46 grand? You're not. That, and another thing like that I haven't, I mean, with the power that this thing has, you know, there's times, typical kind of Mustang cliche drivers, that, you know, you put your foot down and you're in a hedge or you're wiping out a crowd. I haven't felt like uncomfortable driving this and putting my foot down, and I'm not getting anywhere near what this car can do. But for me, like, when I put my foot down, I'm not like, it's not like that, oh, you know, oh shit moment of I could be in a hedge, I have no idea the control of this thing. And that's quite big for me. Like, that's, you know, again, this is thankfully the Diffees are giving me this car to just check it out, take some pictures, and like, it's the last thing you want to do is give them that phone call, hey, sorry boys, the car's in a field. Yeah, I decided to turn traction control off and put it in a field. Like, it's one of the best looking cars and one of the best handling cars that, you know, it's just, it's mega. Just passed the state trooper and he gave me the wave and the nod, so clearly he approves. Hopefully he doesn't pull me over. Taryn hates it. When I pulled into the garage yesterday, I told her, okay, come on look at this thing. She opens the garage door and it's like, the colour's hideous. Okay, so it's not a good start. And then I took her out in it this morning, and she absolutely does not care about the speed, about the noise. She's just not a car person. So, got that thing going for me, sadly. give this thing back. Not one bit. Out in the country roads. Take me home. I mean, I'm not the best of, I don't have the biggest vocabulary anyway, and this is, yeah, it's, I mean, that's my favorite downshift of all time. 4th to 3rd, little blip. And when the engine heats up, the crackles on the overrun are just better than your cereal. One thing as well is these seats are really comfortable. These weren't my top choice of, like, if I was to spec this car, they weren't my top choice of seats, but yeah, these now everyone has radar detectors. How can I explain to Taryn that I really need this? I can eat ramen. I can eat ramen for the rest of the year and pay for this thing. It's fine. Yeah, it's addicting. Very, very, very addicting. Even in yellow. Back to the dealership, where I might cry handing the keys over. Again, shout out to Diffee Ford in Lincoln for letting me have this one for 24 hours, take some pictures of it and make this video. It's currently for sale. Comes in Bumblebee spec. But thanks for watching, and yeah, plenty more videos to come. Follow us, subscribe. This is Oklahoma. Lots of podcasts, all the rest of it. This is just a passion thing for me. Most of it's all stories and podcasts and pictures and stuff like that. But I love cars. I've always loved cars, and I just want to use this to share that. So hopefully going forward, we've done one now with the Porsche Cayenne Turbo out of Porsche Oklahoma City, and now this one. Yeah, I'm going to keep pushing for more cars and more content. The goal is to get into, you know, people's stories and why they drive what they drive. You know, the same thing with the podcast. Why do I interview the people I interview? Because they have amazing stories, and the stories behind what they do, why they do it, is something that I've really enjoyed sharing over the last couple of years. And now with the videos and the car stuff, there's always a story behind someone's car. Regardless of what it is, you always have a memory driving somewhere, picking somebody up, going on a first date. You know, whatever that story is, that's something that I love sharing. So if you're watching and you have a cool car, you have a cool story about the car that you have, let me know. Let's come out and shoot a video and tell that story. There's stories behind everything, and I love cars. Why not put those two together? So thanks for watching, and we will catch you next video. Cheers. Oh, it's not fair.